हेलो गाइस, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब खैरियत से होंगे। तो आज की इस वीडियो में हम जो बुक पढ़ने वाले हैं वो है लॉज ऑफ पावर। और मैं आपको कुछ बताना चाहता हूँ कि इस चैनल पे मैं दो काम करूँगा। एक बुक्स पढ़ना, दूसरा गेमिंग। गेमिंग मुझे थोड़ी बहुत आती है, तो उसको हम प्रोफेशनली करेंगे ताकि हम उसमें और भी अच्छे हो सके। तो लॉज ऑफ पावर का जो चैप्टर 1 है हम उससे शुरू करेंगे। तो अपनी रीडिंग को बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम से शुरू करते हैं। लॉ 1, पहले चैप्टर में 5 लॉ है, देखते हैं। तो अब हम पहला लॉ पढ़ेंगे। ओके, तो आई विल रीड एंड यू विल लिसन। ओके, लॉ 1, नेवर आउटशाइन द मास्टर जजमेंट। Always make those above you feel comfortably superior in your desire to please and impress them. Do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite, inspire fear and insecurity. Make your master appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Okay. Transgression of the law. Nicholas Fouquet, Louis XV's finance minister in the first year of his reign, was a generous man who loved lavish parties, pretty women, and poetry. He also loved money, for he led an extravagant lifestyle. Fouquet was clever and very much indispensable to the king. So when the Prime Minister Jules Mazarin died in 1661, the finance minister expected to be named the successor. Instead, the king decided to abolish the position. This and other signs made Fouquet suspect that he was falling out of favor, and so he decided to ingratiate himself with the king by staging the most spectacular party the world had ever seen. The party's ostensible purpose would be commemorate the completion of Fouquet's charge, Wexley Vicomate, but its real function was to pay tribute to the king, the guest of honor. The most brilliant nobility of Europe and some of the great minds of the time, La Fontaine, La Rochefoucauld, Madame de Sévigné अटेंड द पार्टी। इसमें जो लफ्ज़ है, नाम जो है वो काफ़ी मुश्किल है, तो मेरे से प्रोनाउंसिएशन में गलती हो सकती है, तो उसको इग्नोर कीजिएगा। Molière wrote a play for the occasion, in which he himself was to perform at the evening conclusion. The party began with a lavish 7-course dinner featuring food from the Orient never before tasted in France, as well as new dishes created especially for the night. The meal was accompanied with music commissioned by Fouquet to honor the king. After dinner, there was a promenade through the church garden, the ground of and fountains of Wexley Vicomte were to be the inspiration of Versailles. Fouquet personally accompanied the young king through the geometrically aligned arrangement of shrubbery and flower beds, arriving at the garden's canals. They witnessed a fireworks display which was followed by the performance of Moliere's play. The party ran well into the night and everyone agreed it was the most amazing affair they had ever attended. The next day Fouquet was arrested by the king head musketeer d'Artagnan. 3 months later, he went on trial for stealing from the country treasure. Actually, most of the stealing he was accused of he had done on the king's behalf. and with the king's permission. Fouquet was found guilty and sent to the most isolated prison in France, high in the Pyrenees mountain, where he spent the last 20 years of his life in solitary confinement. Interpretation: Louis XV, the Sun King, was a proud and arrogant man who wanted to be the center of attention by anyone, and certainly not his finance minister. Sorry. To succeed Fouquet, Louis chose Jean-Baptiste Colbert, a man famous for his parsimony and for giving the dullest parties in Paris. Colbert made sure that any money liberated from the treasury went straight into Louis' hand. With the money, Louis built a place even more magnificent than Fouquet's, the glorious place of Versailles. He used the same architects. Second law, uh, law one का second paragraph या second part आप कह सकते हैं. Decorate and garden designer and at Versailles, Louis hosted parties even more extravagant than the one that cost Fouquet his freedom. Let us examine the situation the evening of the party as Fouquet pre, uh, present, presented spectacle and on spectacle to Louis, each more magnificent than the one before. He imagined the affair as demonstrating his loyalty and devotion to the king. Not only did he think party would put him back in the king's favor, he thought it would show his good taste, his connection, and his popularity, making him indispensable to the king of demonstrating that he would make an excellent prime minister instead. However, each new spectacle, each appreciative smile bestowed by the guests of Puppets made it seem to Louis that his own friends and subjects were more charmed by the finance minister than by the king himself, and that Fouquet was actually flaunting his wealth and power. Rather than flattering Louis, Fouquet's elaborated parties offend the king's vanity. Louis would not admit this to anyone. Of course, instead he found a convenient excuse to rid himself of a man who had inadvertently made him feel insecure, such in the faith in some form or other. Of all those who unbalance the master's sense of self, poke him hole in his vanity, or make him doubt his pre preeminence. When the evening began, Fouquet was at the top of the world. By the time he had ended, he was at the bottom. Voltaire, 1694 to 1778. Observation of the law. In the early 1600s, the Italian astronomer and mathematician Galileo found himself in a precarious position. He depended on the generosity of great rulers to support his research, and so, like all resident scientists, he would sometimes make gift of his invention and discoveries to the leading patrons of the time. Once, for instance, he presented a military compass he had invented to the Duke of Gonzaga. Then he dedicated a book explaining the use of the compass of the Medicis. Both rulers were grateful, and through them Galileo was able to find more students to teach. No matter how great the discovery, however, his patrons usually paid him rich gifts, not cash. This made for a life of constant insecurity and dependence. There must be an easier way, the thought Galileo. Galileo hit on a new strategy in 1610 when he discovered the moons of Jupiter. Instead of dividing the discovery among his patrons, giving on the one the telescope he had used, dedicating a book to another, and so on as he had done in the past, he decided to focus exclusively on the medicines he chose. The Medicis, for one reason, shortly after Cosimo I had established the, the Medici dynasty in 1540. He had made Jupiter the mightiest of the gods, the Medici symbol, a symbol of a power that went beyond politics and banking. One linked to ancient Rome and its divinities, Galileo turned his discovery of Jupiter's moon into a comic event. Honoring the Medici's greatness shortly after the discovery, he announced that the bright stars, the moons of Jupiter, offered themselves in the laws in the heavens to his telescope at the same time as Cosimo. Enthron- enthron- Enthronement, he said that the number of moons four harmonized with the number of the Medicis. Cosimo too had three brothers, and that the moon orbited Jupiter as these four suns revolved around Cosimo I, the dynasty's founder. More than coincidence, this showed that the heaven themselves reflected the ascendancy of the Medici family. After he decided the discovery to Medici, Galileo commissioned an emblem representing Jupiter sitting on a cloud with the four stars circling about him, and presented this to Cosimo II as a symbol of his link to the stars. In 1610, Cosimo II made Galileo his official court philosopher and mathematician, mathematician with a full salary. For a scientist, this was the coup of a lifetime. The, day, the days of begging for patronage were over. Interpretation. In one stroke, Galileo gained more with his new strategy than he had in years of begging. The reason is simple. All masters want to appear more brilliant than other people. They do not care about science or empirical truth or the latest invention. They care about their name and their glory. Galileo have the Medicis infinitely more glory by linking their name with cosmic forces than he had by making them the patrons of some new scientific gadgets or discovery. Scientists are not spared the vagaries of court life and patronage. They too must serve masters who hold the pure strings, and their great intellectual power can make the masters feel insecure as if he were only there to supply the front, an ugly, ignoble job. The producer of a great work wants to feel he is more than just the provider of the financing. He wants to appear creative and powerful, and also more important than the work produced in his name. Instead of insecurity, you must give him glory. Galileo did not challenge the intellectual authority of the Medicis with his discovery or make them feel inferior in any way. By literally aligning them with the stars, he made them shine brilliantly among the court of Italy. He did not outshine the master, he made the master outshine all others. Keys to power. Everyone has insecurity. When you show yourself in the world and display your talents, you will naturally stir up all kinds of resentment in way and other manifestations of insecurity. This is to be expected. You cannot spend your life worrying about the petty feelings of others. With those above you, however, you must take a different approach when it's come to power. Outshining the master is perhaps the worst mistake of all. Do not fool yourself into thinking that life has changed much since the days of Louis XV and the Medicis, those who attain high standing in life are like kings and queens. They want to feel secure in their position. And okay, this is episode one of this book. We will make episodes of this book and we will read and listen to this. For this video, this is the end. We will meet into another video with the episode 2 of this book. So goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.